Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of The Statement with me, Paul Odhiambo. Today, we are here to have a chat with a multi-award fashion designer and a sustainable fashion trailblazer, Aulgah Nato. Thank you so much for joining us.
Most welcome, Paul. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
So the last time we had a conversation was during the tribal chic.
The tribal chic.
How has it been like since then?
Busy.
Actually, the first design that came on the runway, the one that
my showstopper.
Yes, yeah. It was so amazing.
Thank you. I mean, that was a haute couture. Yeah. So it took us ages to make it.
Really?
It took some time. Close to, it was a month.
You're kidding.
It was a month because so this is what happens behind the scene. It's not what you see and you think like, oh yeah, it was one idea and that's how it was done. And so you get to have a back and forth in design. You create it and probably you feel not so satisfied with it. Then you back to the drawing board. Say, what can we do on a particular design to make it much more appealing or to hit exactly where you wanted it to hit.
Oh yeah. And just before we go deep right into it, who is Aulgah Nato?
Aulgah Nato. Aulgah Nato is multi-award winning brand. I have been in the industry for some time now. I help also in holding other people's hands.
Perhaps one will ask where this all began, because you didn't just wake up and became Aulgah Nato.
Very true.
So where did the whole journey begin?
I mean, just the same way you've said the journey. I hate to use the word the journey, but yes, I'll take you back to this. I lost my mom at a very young age, and she loved fashion. She must have loved fashion so much. My very, very little pictures that I get to see, we used to wear same clothes with her. She left plenty of clothes. I only have one sister, and so she took her share and I took mine. And so I was always fascinated. After school, I'd want to play with mine because, I mean, my mom was much older, you know, maybe she was nearing 40s. But I had to change her clothes to fit me. So I adjusted a number of clothes that I was given to fit me. There are some that I would take to the local tailors to adjust to fit me. There are some that I just used my hands to, you know, stitch, resize them and wear them. And so that's how far I can trace my love for fashion. Fast forward, I cleared high school. I wanted to take fashion and design job. Of course, my family, mostly my dad did not agree with me on that. So I took a different course, communication, and afterwards I had an opportunity to fly out of the country. So being out there, I would say that is exactly what brought me back into doing fashion. One, because staying here, I already loved fashion. I already knew how to dress, how to match my stuff. And where was my best market? The thrift market, basically. And how are we getting those things? I mean, having 150, 100, 200 shillings would get you really a good second-hand clothes. Now, getting to this other side of the country, I wasn't able to, they had no second-hand, simple. Like, there was no second-hand. So I was dropped in a place where there was high-end or very low. I already knew low, and low, I didn't want to settle for low. And then high was too much for me. Do you understand? So there was a gap. In my world, I felt there was a gap. And so I talked to my sister back at home to do a few stuff for me, and she sent them over. And my colleagues loved what I I was wearing, there were a few, I think there were like 5 pieces. I was able to sell to my friends back then. And other people continue asking, like, oh, where do you get your clothes, and how can we get them?
Yeah.
So that became something to me. It kept pushing me, like, I think there's a market for this, but how well can I do this? I had not learned how to tailor or to do anything to help myself in that situation. So I promised myself that I'll get back home, enroll in a fashion and design school, and do this, and then get back to that place. So then I told my brothers, this is what I wanted to do. They told me, I mean, who pays their bills with tailoring? I had no really people I could refer to, like, I have seen so and so do something, and this is the their way of life or so. So I had this burning thing inside, like I wanted to prove them that, I mean, despite just seeing tailors that would pick maybe a balcony somewhere to stitch and repair clothes, I wanted to pick this to be a career. So I go back, fast forward, I wasn't able to enroll in any fashion school. I took graphics and design school, actually. So then while I was there, I had applied for some jobs in my line, in PR line. So I was able to get a place which was to that standard, or to back then, it was, I felt it was a very comfortable salary. So I started working with them. While working with them, my desire, and it was the same time I was in school taking graphics and design, my art, my sketches, then it just took me to fashion. Like, I would do my sketches, it was a burn to me. Like, I was just so drawn to fashion. So 1 year into this, I couldn't resist it anymore. I didn't tell anyone at home. I resigned. I did not tell anyone at home. And then I moved out of home, went into a very small NSQ house somewhere in Hallingham. I started my life. Fair enough, the house had a balcony, so I bought one machine and hired one tailor, and with my many sketches, so I started making my own clothes. Bringing them to life. Yes, so I started making my own clothes, and I didn't have places to go other than church, so I'd use them to church. And then again, my friends from campus and also from church started asking me, where do you make your clothes? And I said, no, I'm doing this now. I said, Nato, you are not serious. I said, yeah, I'm actually doing this. And my first supporters and believers were actually the friends we went to school with. So that's how far I can trace.
But how did you even know that this is the right fabrics to use, you know, for this design?
It's all about learning. I was extremely dedicated into doing this. You should have seen my nights. Sleep was not close to me. I did a lot of research. I used to do a lot of research. I'm good in sketching, so I used to sketch stuff that I wanted. And remember, this has been me. It's not like I didn't have fashion in me. So even as I was growing, I still knew brands. And so I already knew designs. I already had taste. All I needed is someone to help me interpret what I already had to life. And so that's how now my dream and my everything came to birth.
So how has the growth been like? Let's say from the first time you had
I made the decision. I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to grow. It takes a lot of doing the same thing over and over to perfect it. So there's been a lot of growth, I would say. I mean, from when I started, I didn't even know direction I wanted to take. I knew I loved fashion, and I was just doing everything, from kids to men to like I didn't have an area of
a specific niche to focus on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was just doing everything. And I realized as I was growing, I mean, it's so tiring to do that. And I have been growing from, like, I think my mind changes after 2 or so years that, okay, this is the point we need now to change, because otherwise, if we also don't change, what happens is that the market is growing, the industry is growing, other people are going to come up with different ideas, different, better concepts, and will beat you in your game. So you have to keep researching, renovating yourself, and getting it better every day.
So here you are with your one machine.
Yes.
And then after some time you advance to?
2.
Slowly by slowly.
So from my balcony, I moved to Hallingham Plaza. By the time we were knowing each other, I was a baller now. But, so that's not where I started. I moved to, the space was, it could only take a machine. So when I would have a client fit in, the tailor would come out and then the client would get in and fit, and would carry a mirror for them to see themselves and then put it back. And that's how far. And I want to remind you that I was doing this behind my family. I had not involved them, and probably that's why I didn't have enough capital. However, I had saved enough for rent, and so whatever I was getting even from my friends, just it was to sustain my tailor. But there was no profit. So
at what point did you tell your family?
So one day, a friend of mine told me now where to get fabrics in Arusha. So I wanted to go to Arusha. I had no clue, but I had to tell someone also at home that first I want to go out of the country for this, and 2, I just needed a little support. So that's the point. I have one of my brothers is my best friend, so he came to check up on me. I think they were actually scared when I moved out of home. Maybe they thought maybe I want to get married, maybe something. But it was a decision for me when I was moving out of home. I said, I mean, worst case scenario, I'm not married, I don't have a baby, I'll go back home and start or go back to my career. So I said it was something that I was jumping into with also a thought that I was going to fail, but I was not giving a room for that.
So back then you were focusing on everyone, like designing for men, designing for kids?
Everything, literally everything.
So when did you now say, you know what, I need to focus on this line?
Much later, must have been in 2016. But even in my focus, after some time, I've already changed from my focus as well. My focus then was purely gowns. So I would only do literally wedding gowns, bridal gowns, evening occasion gowns. Like I was very clear that it was just the gowns that I needed to do. Until that also something changed. You want to know what?
Yes.
COVID. Yes. That's when I realized, I mean, people are not wearing gowns. Where are you going to wear your gown to? To your kitchen? So literally that's how also that model changed.
Being a fashion designer also comes with other things like being now a business person. So how do you make sure that these two are in sync?
If you're lucky enough, you get it from the word go. If you're like me, because there's no formula of doing things right, and there's no way that will guarantee you that if you do this, your formula will work.
Yeah.
Some do it wrong and they still end up in getting the right way.
Yeah.
Then there are some with the right formula and they still don't make it.
Yeah.
Because there are mixtures of everything in trying to get into the industry. But I'll think getting a balance is very good. And
actually that comes with its own ups and downs.
Exactly. So I'll be very honest and tell you that I'm doing what I love.
Yeah.
I love challenges every day.
Yeah.
And so I take challenges with a lot of, grace and everything. Because I believe I'm built for that. I won't say exactly that has, I've ever been in a place where I felt like, no, I need to close down and go. Because this has challenges every day. You walk into challenges every single day. I don't think there's any single day that I walk in and we smile.
What is it that people do not know about fashion and design?
To me, I just think that people tend to think that it's more glam. And because people just see the
end product.
The end product. And this is just like any other business. There are lots of challenges. You have to put in a lot of work, a lot of research. Also time. It consumes a lot of time. You have to give it your best. It's more of a call because you deal with people every day. People who are very sensitive, clients are very sensitive. And so it takes a lot to also get to understand people to understand you. And so to me, that's the deepest part of it.
Talk to us about fabric sourcing.
Fabric sourcing is the most, like every day that I want a therapy, it's a therapeutic moment for me. Fabrics are beautiful. I feel like they always talk to me. Actually, there was one shop I used to think like, I'm a woman to ameniekea juju. Every time I go there, I'd come up, like it would not be on me to pick anything from that shop, but I will pass by there and get so many fabrics. Fabrics are key. I love fabric sourcing. You learn a lot. You learn a lot in textures of the fabrics, different qualities, what different countries are producing, because then you understand or know that you could be calling the same fabric name, but produced in different countries, and they have different qualities and textures. And to me, I mean, fabric sourcing is one of my favorite.
And talking about other countries, do you get all your fabrics locally or do you outsource them?
I outsource a lot, as you know. I travel a lot.
Yes. Oh, you do. Oh.
Yes. So to me, every time I step out, I also love getting to see what other people are doing. In terms of fashion, and every time I visit fashion stores, deeply I love meeting designers of different countries and to see what they are doing differently. When I get into a fashion store, I mean, I'll pick a cloth like this and then immediately turn it inside out to understand the construction of that design or outfit. And also to get to see different fabrics that are in different countries that are not so accessible in my country. So you have to set yourself apart with different fashion houses. You could be doing the same design, but the fabric is what speaks. So it's the details that you put or the quality of fabric that you put. And so for sure in costing, what guides us is majorly the fabric.
The fabrics. You recently showcased sustainable pieces.
Right, I did.
How do you incorporate that in your designs?
So I'll tell you, I told you again, that I keep changing and advancing in my work every day. So what happened? First, I started doing gowns with after doing just everything.
Yeah.
Then I went to doing gowns, right?
Yeah.
And then now I'm doing gowns and my ready-to-wear pieces, right?
Yeah.
So the point that when we got to the part of my ready-to-wear, I started looking at some of the gowns I already had.
Yes.
So what did I do? Some of them I restructured them. Since this is something I'm very good at.
Yeah.
Restructuring. All right. And so what did I showcase at the Tribe Hotel, Tribal Chic? Actually, a lot of them were old pieces that were restructured.
Really?
Yes. So there were designs that were done before, and then I was bringing them back. There were fabrics that were already used before, because as a fashion house, you'll find that you'll have dead stock.
Yes.
So then, this dead stock, how do you use them without polluting the environment with them? After some time, either I'll donate them or I'll rework on them.
Yeah.
So I'd want to bring back like one of my designs there and ask myself, why did this design not sell?
Yeah.
Was it about the stitching? Was it the design? But what if we'd add something to it?
Yeah.
So a number of what I showcased, actually I had showcased them out of the country. When I did Cannes Film Festival,
Yeah.
I did a number of couture, I did a number of really beautiful pieces, but because I showcased them outside, and they didn't, I didn't place them to suit our market.
Yeah.
So they were from the other market. So I brought them back. They didn't sell much. So what did I do this time? I just restructured them.
How did COVID impact your business?
Actually, I had a new birth in COVID. We did part of COVID with you, and you remember. So I said I was doing gowns before, and then COVID hit, and you realize people are not getting married anymore, people are not attending events anymore. Basically, people are not going to work. The world shut. So then I still had people that were having families, and it got to me that, am I going to shut down? And I'm okay. I was okay that I could go back home and join my family. I mean, them feeding one more mouth would not kill them. But I thought of everyone I worked with had families. They had people who are looking up to them, and so that bothered me, because immediately the lockdown was announced, or COVID was announced, the cases were confirmed, people got scared, people stopped coming to work, and I equally feared interacting with people, so I stayed in the house for I think 1 week without going to work. It was driving me insane. I thought to myself, what can I do to get it moving? And so I called one of my tailors back. And how did that happen? No, someone was making already, other countries were already doing material masks, right? So I said to myself, back then I could afford the disposable masks, but I thought to myself, how about my house help? How about my security, both at home or even at work? So I called my guys back and I said, you know what, this is the time also to give back. I was still able to maybe sustain myself for a year or so or less with what my stock, with what I already had. But then I thought of other people. So I thought, let me do something to help them. So I called my tailors back and we started doing masks to donate to people, to Kibra people, to security people, to people who were not able to get masks, to buy masks at 500. at the particular time. So what did I do? I also started picking my clothes from their wardrobe and tracing the fabrics that they were used on them, and matching mask, right? And one day I was so surprised at 9 o'clock news to see myself on TV, several pictures that what Kenyans were doing. So I was like, oh, people are actually watching. And after that, I actually got a backlash of different people. People were saying material masks were not safe. But then I was like, they are better than nothing. So to the amount of anything they could help, I said I would do. And immediately other companies reached out to me to do that, to help other people, to also just donate. Other companies started, they also now knew that material masks were able to work, and it was super costly for companies to buy the disposable ones. And they incorporated me, like, what can you do? And that's how I got myself out of the house and became busy.
How do you respond to changing patterns of clients, their feedback and all that?
It takes a lot. And like I told you before, I'm selling a lifestyle and not just clothes. By that, you have to understand holistically, like, what are the needs of my clients. So I get to sit. You can find me here with a client. I take my sessions, sometimes can take an hour or plus with a client, just to understand, also to get feedbacks. They get to tell you their experience elsewhere, their experiences with you, or even some areas that they would want you to correct or even to do better. You have to have a very open mind when dealing with clients, because some got very strong opinions and you have to take in. And so when someone is giving you their opinion, they are necessarily not just beating you, but probably just telling you, I mean, this is what is happening. This is how we are feeling here. Maybe if you do this right, it would keep us more.
Just, let's say, just to wind it up, what advice perhaps would you have for those people who are looking at getting themselves into the fashion space?
Fashion space. It doesn't just have to be fashion space, but people who probably are looking into starting their own business, because I'd want to first look at fashion as a business before looking at it as a fashion first. So first, just have your ideas lined, know your directions. Don't be swayed. Like, do what you're doing, maybe repeatedly. Consistency and repeatedly to what you are doing. If you probably did it yesterday, how best do you think you can redo it a day after? So it's important to master your art, and you can't just master it in one day. Do it repeatedly. Allow people to believe in you by doing what you do repeatedly. There's no way you're gonna do shoes today. Tomorrow you start doing jewelry. Day after you start doing clothes. People won't trust you. You have to find something that works for you, master it, then do it better.
It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. And hopefully, any projects that you're having for the year?
I'm always having projects. And I'd want you to keep an eye on me. There are new projects coming in, and definitely collaborations with other faces in the industry. So
we keep an eye.
Please do. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure having you in my new Chania Code 42.
Paul Odhiambo, and this is The Statement.